is the Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast.
Hello once again and welcome to the Celebrity Afterlife Report. I'm the Celebrity Medium. Hope you had a great Halloween. Like every week, I have a roundup of the latest gossip about your favorite deceased celebrities for you, as reported to me by my Next World paparazzi contacts. Let's make this happen. If recent arrival to the afterlife, famous fashion designer Oscar de la Renta thought he was going to have a quiet existence in the next world, he was sadly mistaken. On last week's report, I told you how de la Renta had no sooner arrived in the afterlife when he was accosted by some of poverty activist nun-turned-disco diva Mother Teresa's fans who wanted Oscar to design some dignified outfits for their idol to wear on stage to replace the outlandish get-ups she's been sporting. De la Renta said he'd have to think about it before he could commit. Well, no sooner had the designer dodged that bullet when he was offered another opportunity. Joan Rivers, who has been keeping busy lately, hosting a TV show called Street Style with Joan, in which she critiques the clothing worn by average people on the Next World sidewalk, cornered the designer in a restaurant while he ate dinner. My fly on the wall tells me that Joan had Oscar laughing within seconds of coming up to him. My source also says that Rivers invited herself to join de la Renta at his table, and after a minute or so of mutual admiration, she got around to the real purpose of her visit. Joan told Oscar she would love to have him co-host Street Style alongside her. She described the show in detail to him, and according to my source, he seemed very interested in the concept. Before dessert was served, Joan had apparently obtained a commitment from de la Renta to take the job. Another source with connections to the show says that the title will be changed to Street Style with Joan and Oscar as soon as he starts co-hosting, which is expected to be sometime in the next few weeks. 3 weeks ago in the report, I told you that Judy Garland, who played Dorothy in the classic movie version of The Wizard of Oz, had a lot to say about men lately, none of it good. A source who asked Garland if her negativity toward the males of the species comes from her 4 earthly plane divorces tells me that Judy said, yeah, they're a big part of it. Garland has been telling interviewers of late that she plans on putting her money where her mouth is by establishing a females-only town on the outskirts of one of the next world's larger cities. As you might imagine, public reaction to her project has been vociferous, both pro and con. For the moment at least, it seems as if the naysayers are winning. According to Afterlife media reports, Garland's project is having a hard time getting off the launching pad as she can't seem to find the all-female construction crew she wants to use to build the new community. Garland told one interviewer that, as the town will be for women only, she thought it should be built entirely by women. Problem is, there aren't many women in the next world who were trained in construction during their time on the earthly plane. Now, the obvious solution would be for Garland to relax her no men policy, at least when it comes to building the place. That too, however, is running into problems, as many of the building tradesmen in the afterlife are refusing to work on a project designed to discriminate against them. Sources close to Judy say she is very frustrated by the obstacles standing in the way of her grand project, and that, at least for the moment, she doesn't have a plan B to get it off the ground. As longtime listeners to the report know, we've been following the stories of several unlikely next world couples for some time. At the top of the list would have to be former President Abraham Lincoln and his lady, singer Whitney Houston. Right behind them for unlikeliness, though, are Marilyn Monroe and Andy Warhol. On the earthly plane, Marilyn was something of a muse for Warhol. He painted many portraits of the actress, which today are highly prized by modern art collectors. Now, Warhol was well known to be gay, which makes many people in the afterlife scratching their head about the couple who have announced that they intend to get married in the near future. Okay, now comes another shocking announcement from the unlikely duo. Warhol was giving an interview to an arts magazine the other day when he casually dropped the bombshell that he and his sex symbol fiancée are planning on adopting children. Now, people in the next world did not give birth, but there are, of course, people there who transitioned to their next existence as kids. According to the pop artist, he and Monroe are looking forward to becoming parents. He said, quote, "We both want to have several kids, some girls, some boys," unquote. Monroe is not yet on record about all this, but at least two of my sources are trying to get comments from her, and we'll pass along what she says when we find out. When it comes to trying to shock their elders with their fashion choices, Afterlife teenagers are no different from their earthly plane counterparts. Several weeks ago, I told you about a wild new clothing craze among Next World kids. No one seems to know how it started, but the latest trend is to dress like Mahatma Gandhi. Yes, that means exactly what you think it does, wearing a wrap that basically looks like a big diaper. Not only does the craze show no signs of dying off anytime soon, it's actually becoming more popular over time, according to my sources. Most Afterlife adults seem to realize it's intended to get a rise out of them and just shrug it off, but some of the more socially conservative adults are very bothered by the young women who go for the Gandhi look, given as it doesn't include a bra. I'm informed that some older folk have actually accosted girls wearing the trendy outfits and tried to cover them up against their will, and that has led to a few altercations on Next World sidewalks recently. If I could offer just a little advice to the grown-ups in the Afterlife, I'd say just relax, don't overreact. The kids are just pushing your buttons. This fad is just that, a fad, and it will go away on its own soon enough. In the meantime, is seeing some young women's breasts really going to ruin your day? Okay, gang, that is it for the Celebrity Afterlife Report for this week. Please come back next week for another roundup of all the latest gossip about your favorite deceased celebrities. I am the Celebrity Medium. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to the Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast. To ask a question about your favorite deceased celebrity, call 818-3-MY-DREAM. 818-3-MY-DREAM. 818-369-3732.